2018, the Kellogg Foundation produced a report entitled The Business Case for Racial Equity. It talked about the racial wealth gap that we have in our state, and that it's costing our state $92 billion. And that if we close that gap at 2050, the state stands to gain that amount of money. So our role at the Black Business Alliance, we really took that report. You know, the report not only stated the facts, but also gave a roadmap to how do we actually do that work. And part of it is access to capital for minority entrepreneurs. It's business development in underserved areas. And so our organization is trying to do that across the state. And I think it's important to understand that if we are a state that wants to grow and develop, then we have to take on head on the racial equity issue. And we have to take on just a different lens and perspective to how we are shoring up opportunity for Black businesses, but small businesses generally. People want to live in a place where it's walkable with thriving commercial corridors, and absolutely how we treat small businesses as a state, how we deal with racial equity will help determine whether or not we get to where we're trying to go.
Thank you. Dr. Perry, similar to with the first question, particularly with your national lens, how are others addressing this moment, and what are you seeing in this work?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And this is a great crowd, beautiful crowds, packed, so a lot of excitement. What I tried to do at the national landscape is remind people, particularly during political seasons, that the work to maintain or even grow populations go beyond a political season. That this is establishing a policy agenda that enhances job creation, creates better schools, creates housing opportunities, increasing ownership, business ownership in particular. And when you focus on the agenda, you can then you realize what it will take to maintain population and grow population. Here in Michigan, you have a lot of the building blocks for those things to happen. But like a lot of states, it ebbs and flows with political season. People either build up an agenda that is maintained and the next administration tears it down. What I think is important for this room, and I think what's important for Kellogg, is for the people in this room to understand these are the building blocks that we're going to impress upon whoever is in office, and we're going to maintain this. We're going to hold you to that fire.
What you'll see in the report is a recognition, for example, that Michigan has a chance to really make up that median income gap that can drive prosperity with investments, for example, in our entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem. Michigan's already a top 10 state for patents. Michigan already has the preeminent Black tech ecosystem in America, arguably, in things like Black Tech Saturdays, for example. But what we see is our entrepreneurs, who we have tons of, folks Michiganders have driven innovation in this country and around the world for a long, long time, unfortunately struggle to get capital, for example, and then when they're about to hire their first 100 folks, maybe you'll see capital flight. So things like the innovation fund that's in the governor's budget or what have you, our attempts to make sure that we're investing in our entrepreneurs, keeping them here, capitalizing businesses, building intergenerational wealth, and closing median income gaps to help drive growth.
Charity, to you as well, too, on that question. And hearing this, how do you see these strategies, being beneficial, right? And do you see the opportunities for engaging and building on? Are there parallel and support of the work you're undertaking at the Michigan Black Business Alliance?
Yeah, I'll say this. The last 2 to 3 years have been really good for Black businesses. We still have a racial wealth gap, though, right? So we still have a very long way to go, but we have seen innovation and we have seen growth in Michigan, right? And that is a direct result of a number of things happening all at the same time, right? So you've got the pandemic that happened that really highlighted what we already knew, the disparities that were already there, but provided an opportunity. We had leadership at the federal level, state level, that were really intentional about how are we directing resources to help Black businesses. But I am very nervous. Things could change like this, and all of the growth that we've seen over the past couple years, could be taken away. And this is why I think, to Dr. Perry's point, it can't be a political issue. And this is why we have to be unapologetic about calling out the disparities that exist.